don't have a presentation. I just have the products and the plan that I've been working on for quite a few years. I was part of the Industrial Hemp Industry since 1995 when they did the first trials. I helped to get the legislation through, which was very good in 2004, but the problem was they tied our hands behind our back because we couldn't use seed as a food. And every other place around the world was making their industry happen because of seed for food. So we got past that and we were looking at other products, and I got a company started in December of 2007, Synergy the Hemp. In 2008, I had an industrial hemp license and started trials with a company called Custom Compost. I was going to supply them with stems and work towards a seed strain that would work in the Swan coastal area. All my planning was for winter seed. I think with the grain production WA has, it's the only way we could get to a scale that'll compete with everybody in the world. And we have excellent farmers here. So that's a way that we can really get this industry up to a size that makes it profitable for everybody. And that was a key part. But because of the seed story, I had to find products that we could make it into. And that's been a long process, and I met a man about 2 years ago that was building hemp houses and suggested to him that we might be able to make hemp railway sleepers out of fur. So he liked the idea, and we now have a 4 meter by a half a meter high and half a meter wide railway sleeper that is getting certified here by the end of the year for use in railway lines. And the advantage of this is that it locks 550 tons of carbon in it. The company is called Hemp Rail International, and my partner is Ilya Saba. So not only are we locking carbon in, we're also putting sensors in the sleepers to lower the cost of maintenance. There aren't going to be any rocks with the ballast. That's another huge cost for a railway line. So we've taken some huge benefits for the railway line companies to cut their costs, and at the same time have a product that we could use for the stems. Everybody in the world's been able to find products for food. You know, any product that a soybean can make, we can make. You know, if we could go to Asia with tofu, you know, we could go with any of these products. So food hasn't been the problem, it's manufacturing. And so along with making this railway sleeper, my partner Ilya Saba started on a decorticator. And just a month ago, we had our first trial, and we were able to take the textile off the middle part, the hurd. So we use this hurd for making our railway sleepers. And because of that, it has a few benefits. One is when you only use the hurd, that it has very good fireproof benefits. You can put 1500 degree temperature to it for 15-20 minutes, and it'll scorch the outside but won't hurt the structural side. Our iHemp railway sleepers also are structural. We're one of the few companies, the only one in Australia, but around the world, that make a hemp structural product that'll meet building codes in most countries. So we're using this decorticator to be able to go out to farms, and because at the round table meeting with Alana, she mentioned that we had a whole 67 hectares of hemp planted last year. And that isn't going to start an industry. You know, you can't build a big processing plant if you only got 67 hectares. But we've got to think about how, on a big scale, it can work. And part of that is it's got to be, like it was just mentioned by Ann, that it has to be close enough to not have to transport. Once you start taking it over 40 or 50 kilometers, you start losing all your value. Diesel price, and roads and all the other things, it needs to be on rail. So part of all this processing has to be planned around rail. So that it isn't being moved far, and when it is processed into a product, because that's what this story is about, is that where farmers are growing it, it's going to make work for regional areas. It's not going to get carted off out of our country and not value added here. We're going to value add it, and we're going to send off a finished product that'll be because of all the different products we pull off that same crop. You know, we're using the stem, and we can also use the textiles. We can make a biodegradable matting, just like fiberglass, or a lot of other different products. Hopefully, with the flowers, once the seeds are taken off, there's CBDs in it that were talked about earlier. So we should be able to take all these products off the same crop that keep that price very competitive for all the products we make, especially with the CBD side. But in November, the United Nations is going to be meeting up to finally change the law that hemp isn't a drug. And it'll make it harder for our government to say that we can't get medical products off a low THC crop. Why couldn't you? You know, it's low THC, it's not doing anything. Why shouldn't we be able to do it? Because CBD's a kilo of a paste of CBD for some pharmacies, or pharmaceutical companies are paying over $50,000 for. So, you know, and if we have a strain that gets more than a kilo per ton of flowers, you know, some breeders have taken it up to 9 kilos. So if you multiply that times 5, you know, all the rest of the crops can be given away. So the idea is to be able to use all the different products we can pull off of it and actually market them and make us one of the most competitive countries in the world for selling our products. So with the sleepers, we're looking at paying a farmer $200 a ton for dried stems, baled stems, so that we can take it, and we have now started our automated hemp sleeper production plant. By the end of the year, we'll have it in place and be able to show how it's all going to be able to pump railway sleepers out. We just need enough farmers to supply the product. But we have a price, $200 a ton, and we're looking at a harvester too that'll take the seed off, cut the stems, and possibly even get the roots that have medicinal benefits that even value add more. So what we need is enough farmers growing. And like I've said previously, I've only been interested in winter seed. We do have some irrigation here in WA, but we have a whole lot of dry land. And if we could do wheat, if we could do oats, barley, and all these other crops, I guarantee you we could do wheat. It's finding the right seed strain. I planted in Bridgetown a year ago in June and was able to get a little seed off in November, December from that crop that was grown in Bridgetown. What I didn't expect was that plant kept growing all the way through summer, and we actually harvested on June 11th, the week off being growing a year. So, and that's with no irrigation. We were very lucky in January to have a really good rain that lifted the water table and gave it close enough roots to the water table to grow all the way right through the whole summer cycle. So that's the seed we're looking for. I'm growing in Gingen at the moment, another winter crop, and iffy results. But when they first started growing wheat in wintertime, they weren't getting tons per hectare here. You know, nobody had done it before. So it's a process, and we have to find those right seed strains. We're getting closer, but I believe that once we find some plants that can do that we'll be able to take and use cuttings and really multiply the right seed strains to have enough that will plant hundreds of thousands of hectares. And then we're getting people back out into regional areas because there'll be enough work to keep these people busy and a decent wage. So So HRI is in the process. By the end of the year, early next year, we'll have a decorticator, a mobile one, that we can take out to the few farmers we have now and actually process on your property and give you a price and give us some product. But once there is enough hemp being grown in areas, because we just had our hemp co-op meeting showing that all these farmers are within a 400-kilometer radius, that just takes all the value out of putting in one big place where there's so many little places around. And that's why we need a mobile one to start off with. And we'll be supplying it hopefully for this next coming crop. And saying that, we also, with the harvester we're looking at, be able to take all this process right to the farm and have it all done in a day, and go to maybe more than one farm in a period so that it's all done simultaneously. But by far the biggest issue is seed strains, because we don't use the same ones in Bridgetown as they'll use in Geraldton. And that's what we need. We need seed that's going to work in different places and different soils, because, you know, Gingin's been a whole lot different than Bridgetown was, that's for sure. And it's going to take some time to find those seed strains, but once we do find them, we need to multiply them as fast as we can, because there will be enough products to be produced, and this will pick up life out in regional areas. You know, this is what this plant can do. It can supply work, and it's sustainable. And this is what's kept my energy and interest and passion in this plant for so many years, is future generations need something a bit better than we're handing back right now, and this plant can help. You know, we can do it sustainably, and there are a lot of products, but we got to focus on a few and get them working and make cash flows out of them, and then we could continue on with all the other ones there are. And we're focused mainly on the ones that we can make right now, automated. Yes?
Is there a cement-based product in the sweet instead of making it structural?
No, it's just similar to, it isn't hempcrete, but it's we call it iHemp. It's a product that we've developed. Yeah, it's like this ball right here. That was one of the earlier models. So, you know, I've done that about 100 times with this, and there isn't any pieces, maybe other than a tin on the floor. It's going to last a while, and it's going to last over 40 years. So we're working on having the right products. We just need to keep working towards having the right scenario for growers growing in their area, processing happening within 40 kilometers of that, next to rail, and we've got an industry that can really build. So, any questions, I'll be around afterwards, okay?
Yeah,